our well, our third candidate and final candidate tonight, Tiara Sims. Uh, or should I use should I use Sims or should I hyphenate that?
I have hyphenated it, yes. So May Sims.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine.
Well, Tiara is a candidate for House District 43, which is primarily Johnston. It goes to maybe a few other areas outside of Johnston, like maybe a little piece of Ankeny, a little piece of Des Moines, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
and this will be
Not Des
your second
Moines, Urbandale.
Urbandale. Okay.
Mhm.
And this will be your second go around. You ran last time, but as far as we know, you're the only candidate, Democratic candidate, running this round. I know the filing deadline's 2 weeks from Friday, the 15th, but it appears that you're the only candidate at this point. And you're the only candidate we're considering for House District 43. So with that introduction, we're going to give the floor to you. We're going to give you like 5 or 6 minutes. Talk about yourself, your campaign, some of the issues. Patrick's going to take the second half and ask you 2 or 3 questions, whatever time permits. And but we'll finish up in about 14 minutes total. So
Okay.
now, Tiara, I'm going to give the floor to you. It's yours.
All right. Well, thank you. I apologize for having to take the call in my car, but I'm actually hosting an event, co-hosting an event. So, Tiara May Sims, politics, but my name is Tiara May Sims, and as Mitch has indicated, I am the Democratic candidate for House District 43. I've lived in the Johnston area for 10 years, and I moved here primarily for my son, who was showing some developmental delays, and we needed to be in Des Moines near Child Serve, which is how we got to Johnston for the school district primarily. So with that said, I'm a major public school advocate. I am a product of public school. I graduated from Des Moines East High School. I have a huge heart for education. My family really instilled that, and it's one of the primary platforms of our campaign is public education and protecting our public schools. I do a lot of things within the community. I serve on several boards. Most notably, I'm on the Red Cross board for Central Iowa. I'm a board member. I'm also a board member for the Heartland AEA. I was elected to that position for 4 years in 2021. I'm the first woman of color to serve on the AEA board, and I'm really happy to be there. I've been able to provide a rather unique perspective on that board, as I'm also an AEA parent and have been since my children were born. They were born prematurely. So when I was elected, I did not think that being a board member of the AEA was going to be the top issue in years to come, but we find ourselves right now really fighting for these AEAs, and it's a passion of mine. I have no problem doing it because both of my children receive services from the AEA, and that's also been a huge platform for our campaign as well. Our district, our district loves our public school. We love Johnston School District, and that's really where a lot of our efforts are lying. Our campaign strategy is simple. I've looked at the data for the last couple of elections. We qualify, I guess, as being a purple type of district, and that means where we've fallen short the last 2 cycles is we only talked to Democrats. We only reached out to Democrats, and we got some good outreach done and turnout, but we've got to talk to everybody. And so that's the plan. I've been working with Polk County Democrats, Johnston area Democrats, and they're really prepping me and training me to be able to have conversations with not only Democrats, but everybody. There are a lot of independents in our district. There are a lot of left-leaning Republicans in our district, and that's my goal right now, is to talk to all of them. So I think that's enough about me. I'm ready to answer some questions, Mitch.
Great. So we're going to give you to Patrick now. Patrick's the chair of our election endorsement committee. He'll ask you 2 or 3 questions, whatever time permits. And so I'm going to give the floor to Patrick. Patrick.
Thank you, Mitch. Hello, Tiara. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So you were given a questionnaire, as you know. You answered those, well, most of them, and that leads me to the first question. So, the question, nice segue. So question 2 of the healthcare section asked if you're in favor of repealing the privatization of Medicaid. You answered that because of your profession and career, you would like to instead address this question during the interview. The video of which, by the way, will be made public on the Iowa Unity Coalition website, just so you know. So now, please answer that question.
All right. So in a perfect world, yes, I would love to repeal privatized Medicaid. My son, who receives Medicaid services and has for the majority of his life because he's disabled, I've witnessed firsthand when we went to private Medicaid how it has affected the continuity of his care. Every time one of the MCOs changes, it affects him. He can't just go to any doctor, right? I'll use his dentist, for example. He goes to a very specialized dentist because it's, he doesn't like to go. In fact, when he has to get a thorough cleaning, he has to be put under. He has to go to Iowa Lutheran for an actual surgical procedure. So when the MCOs for dental change, what happens is that they auto adjudicate him into an MCO. And if that MCO is not accepted at the dentist that he goes to, they also auto assign him a dentist without knowing his full medical history. And then I have to spend hours on the phone trying to get them to understand he's got to be switched back to the MCO that is accepted at the dentist that he goes to. So the reason I answered the question in the way that I did is because I'm what's called a provider contract negotiator for an MCO company that is actively seeking the Medicaid business in Iowa. And I'll be honest, I'm really good at what I do. I was headhunted 2 years ago when the RFP was available for Medicaid. I was confronted by AmeriGroup, which is now Elevance. I've had United Healthcare come after me. Again, I'm really good at what I do. I said no to all of those companies. I had zero interest in working for Medicaid in the state of Iowa. And then 2 years ago, a company called UCare approached me, and they are based out of Minneapolis. The interesting thing about Minnesota's Medicaid and insurance model is that it's nonprofit. The company that I work for is nonprofit. And as they taught me a lot about their organization, the thing that I quickly recognized is that this was an organization that was not looking at the bottom line all the time. In fact, one of the things that kind of sold me on it was that whenever they make a profit, the money is given to their providers, because they cannot, as a nonprofit organization, we can't hold on to those funds. We have to do what's in the best interest of our providers and our members. And so that is kind of the long and short of it. My value system would have never allowed me to work for a Medicaid organization, but I'm proud to really work for the company that I'm with now, because I think that if given an opportunity, it'll be a lot different than some of the other MCOs that the state has seen, i.e. you won't see claims being denied that should be approved on the first try, and some other problems that we've had with the system.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Next question. So question 3 of the education section of the questionnaire asked you if post-secondary education, including trade schools, should be free to students. You indicated that a good start would be for community colleges and trade schools to be free. We assume a good start means that you believe that eventually our 4-year public universities should also be free to Iowa residents, but perhaps just not now. Please confirm whether this assumption is correct. And if it is, tell us how long before they too should be free to Iowans.
Yeah. Yes, so your assumption is correct. I say a good start because I'm not naive to the fact, again, in a perfect world, it would start now. I got a lot of student loan debt myself. I would have loved to have the ability to go to school for free. But being realistic, I tried to answer the questions in a realistic fashion and what I think that we could on a bipartisan level really accomplish. I think that, and so that's why I answered it in the way that I did. I think that that's a good starting point in terms of negotiating for both sides.
How long do you think we might need to take before our four-year institutions become free?
As long as, yeah, as long as it takes for us to try and convince the other side that doesn't agree with it. You know, I can't speak for how Republicans, you know, how they view things. And I think realistically, we're talking about becoming the majority. It's going to take us about another 10 years to do that, right? So right now we have to operate in a bipartisan way. So.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
As I mentioned, we got 3 minutes remaining.
3 minutes. Okay, then let's get to the all-important question here, or one of them. So, question 4 of the healthcare section asked if you support expanding legalization of cannabis and to what extent. You answered that you do favor that, but at a safe recreational level. That's a quote. So please tell us what you mean by the word safe in this context, providing examples of what you would favor as safe and what you would not favor as being unsafe.
Sure. Okay, so I'll preface this with I don't utilize it myself, so I don't know much about it. I don't know if I can actually speak to what is safe. When I did respond to it, I believe my thought process really was we have regulations for alcohol, right? I believe that for recreational cannabis, we should have the same type of regulations. You know, too much of a good thing can be detrimental. If I have too much caffeine one day, you know, you might see me a little shaky. So that's really what I meant in a sense of in a safe manner. How can the experts that know what they're talking about find a way to say what's a safe amount to keep people from driving intoxicated or, you know, being out publicly intoxicated, things like that.
Okay, thank you. Mitch, how much time do we have?
You have 2 minutes remaining.
Okay. All right. Why don't you just? I had another question, but why don't you just take the last 2 minutes to tell us, give us your final pitch on why you should get the coalition's endorsement.
Yeah. You know, I really am a candidate that wants to learn about everything. This questionnaire was challenging. I will be honest about that because, you know, I think the hardest part about being in politics is admitting that you're not an expert in all the things. I want to really, I really want to be well informed and really work with everyone that I can to be the best representative that I can. I never want to enter into conversations that I'm not well versed in. And so I'm saying that to say I am a candidate that is willing to learn and that has and that is a fast learner and that's going to work hard and make sure that I have all the information necessary to represent our district in a great manner and the Iowa Unity Coalition in a favorable fashion. I sincerely believe that it takes conversations and that we've got a lot of bipartisan work that has to be done. You know, and I like to, like I said, a lot of times in this interview, in a perfect world, the majority of the things that are listed on the questionnaire, I would absolutely love to see. But I also want to keep focused in the fact that in fighting for those things, we may have to really, we have to start from somewhere being in the minority. So I'll stop there. I hope that you guys do consider endorsing me. Like I said, I want to be the best for everyone and learn, and I take feedback very seriously in all aspects.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Tiara, and thank you for being a member. I just want to note that Tiara has been a member the last 3 years. And we do appreciate that. We will be posting this interview on Saturday It'll be posted up just for a few days until Wednesday evening, because we'll be voting from Tuesday at 6 to Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that'll be our member only voting like we've done previously. Then I'll contact you the following day, probably Thursday morning of next week, to let you know if
Okay.
you got the endorsement or not. But do you have any questions, Tiara? Any questions?
No, not at this time. I appreciate you letting me answer the question verbally. I hope that the verbal explanation, that's why I didn't want to put it in writing. It was nothing nefarious. I felt that, that deserved an explanation, a good one. So thank you for giving me the time to do that.